Right, here is an issue of Marvel Funfair with Hulk in. This is issue 7, and it goes without saying that I do not like Marvel Funfair. I hate all these Marvel titles that were only excuses to print inventory stories and package them as if they were anything but that. The truth is, as much as I dislike the practice, there are obviously decent inventory stories sitting in those drawers at the Marvel offices. I would be singing a different tune if they went through them and only printed the above average ones instead of absolutely all of them. This one is one of those above average ones. We have a Hulk story written by Mark Spector. We also have Al Milburn's editorial strip. But this will have been a fill-in story commissioned for Incredible Hulk. And as the editor's note points out at the bottom, it has to be set in the not so distant past because a lot of unused fill-in issues are archaic and based on old status quos. Were I to place this somewhere, it would be in the first act of Bill Bungalow's run on Incredible Hulk. I don't know or can't remember when there is an obvious gap in between two issues where you can slot it in between, I don't know, after 265 but before 266. Maybe even further back than that. I'm sure Mark Spector wrote another fill-in just before Bill Bungalow's run started. They were likely written around the same period. Read it alongside that. This is a completely fine Hulk tale. We start with him being hounded by fighter jets. And then we also have the circus. And I got worried we were dealing with the circus of crime. But what we have is a pair of excellent men villains have joined a circus. We have Blob Braveheart and Eustace the Uncomfortable. One thing I like straight off the bat is that we have some solid character work going on. We establish the friendship between these two characters superbly. Eustace's powers keep expanding. His power is a force field around his body. But now it is growing wider and wider and pushing everything away. Blob Braveheart is so fat that he can resist it. He can oppose the inertia trying to force him back. And while Eustace is ready to give up, Blob Braveheart won't abandon his friends. And then Hulk, he comes to the circus. And so we have a Hulk versus Blob Braveheart showdown to start things off. The Green Goliath versus the Obese executive editor. Good fight stuff. Blob Braveheart was one of the Excellent Men's very first enemies. He was in issue 3 of the series, Stanley Lee and Jack Quimby. He reappeared throughout the early stories. Eventually, he joined a few different iterations of the evil Brotherhood of Evil Muties of Evil, which is also how he met Eustace a while ago. Blob Braveheart's powers are: he is fat. He is really fat. Really, really fat. It is a fun and interesting challenger to pit Hulk against. And then we have Eustace the Uncomfortable, a different sort of challenge for Hulk. Eustace has his personal force field, which by this point has increased and grown even more. But that would be something that presents an obvious obstacle for Hulk fighting someone. The guy is supposedly untouchable. So how is Hulk going to smash him? I like this. It is a good story. It's a fill-in issue that probably could have been ran without much complaint. It's fun. And here we have some teamwork between the villains. Blob Braveheart is using his mass to force Hulk into Eustace's force field. They are going to try and crush Hulk between the two forces, between fat and force fields. Doesn't pan out for the bad guys. Hulk and Blob Braveheart leap away mid-battle, and Eustace is forced to chase after them, even though doing so is directly causing his projected bubble to continue to grow. Eustace the Uncomfortable, much like his partner in this issue, was another early doors enemy for the Excellent Men. He followed the same trajectory as Blob Braveheart, I suppose. Joined some evil brotherhoods along the way, and he also made a few guest appearances fighting other heroes. And yeah, I do know that this issue of Powerful Man and Iron Fist was written by Kurt Busey. Unlike Blob Braveheart, Eustace was ignored by Christopher Clairvoyant. I don't think Christopher Clairvoyant ever wrote Eustace. And so Eustace's place within Excellent Men history was cemented as being as unimportant as Snowman or any of those characters that Christopher Clairvoyant treat like they didn't exist. Don't rush to the comment box to tell me that Christopher Clairvoyant did actually write Eustace one time in 2004. I already know. Mate, I already know about his failed Excalibur reboot that had nothing to do with Excalibur. So, Hulk versus Blob Braveheart. Nothing I would love more than seeing Hulk beat the tar out of a comic book editor. This is great action. It's really well done. This is a perfect battle to depict with Hulk. And I feel like I should have explained Marvel Funfair in this video. and the nicer paper quality, but Hulk causes Blob Braveheart to have a heart attack, and so then Eustace reappears to defend and protect his friend. I really like this story even. Hulk stories can be as simple as they want to be, but as long as they provide both quality action and some actual characterization underneath the surface, what more can you really ask for? We end with Hulk having shorted out Eustace's protective field. And now we have the reversal of their roles, with Eustace now having to look after his fallen friends. Lovely stuff. We have a second story, and I hate it because a dog dies in it, so I hate this comic and only give it 7 thumbs up.